Takun harya di laurana berlan turum di rorum di onaba.
Although the majority of people living in Wales can speak English, the Welsh language continues to thrive. 500,000 people in Wales can speak Welsh. That's around 19% of the population. It's called Cymraeg and is a language with entirely regular and phonetic spelling. The Celtic language is closely related to Cornish and Breton and is one of Europe's oldest living languages. The Welsh we speak today is directly descended from the language of the 6th century. In the concept of youth culture and multilingualism in everyday life, with the Wales being a bilingual country and the government trying to promote the Welsh language in equality to English in order for it to stand strong ground as an official language, what's your take on it? Do you think it will divide or promote a nation?
I think if a sensible approach is taken, I think it can be very inclusive in terms of a language. I know of lots of friends who have children who are now sending their children to Welsh schools, even though they're not Welsh speakers, because they realise that they feel very proud of being Welsh and it's part of our kind of cultural identity. So I think as long as people don't become kind of precious about the language in the sense that it has to be perfect, and people are open to engagement with the language, I think it can be used as a positive tool that can kind of bring us together as a nation. But if people aren't kind of that mindset, then I think it can always be a kind of a tool that can be used to divide people.
And how do you think the youth are reacting to it in terms of currently the millennials, born into this whole English official language and world, and with the government trying to promote the Welsh culture back, basically the rebirth of the mother tongue? Do you think the youth are for it, or they're still kind of skeptical on it, or they really want to, learn? Mm-hmm. They want to basically go back to their roots,
Yeah, I think that lots of young people are kind of proud of their heritage, and this is part of their cultural heritage. When they come to Wales, or whether they're from Wales originally or whether they've moved to Wales, it's part of their identity, and it's also a tool, right? So communicating within the language also opens opportunities for you. So I think as young people see that the opportunities are available to them, and that Welsh can open those doors to those opportunities, I think that anybody who can see that will grab it with both hands and kind of take it on board.
Okay, so where do you see the Welsh language in terms of promoting the nation in, say, 10 years from now? Where do you see it? Like, as a nation? Where do you view the language?
I think there was during the European Football Championships, there was a really interesting thing, because what happened was the football team decided to go with bilingual messaging, and actually using the Welsh language as a kind of integrated part of their kind of communications campaign, and the whole Welsh public really bought into it, and that was really nice. So my hope is that that's the way that we're going to go. We're going to buy into it, and that that Welsh will be seen as a kind of on an equal level with English. But I think we don't have to be exclusive. I think languages in general are really, really useful. I think that the more languages that we learn when we're younger can only serve to benefit us in terms of the world's increasingly globalized, and we want to connect with the world. Where does Wales stand in the world? And so languages can be used like that. And I know from my point of view as a Welsh speaker that Welsh has helped me when I'm learning other languages in terms of the pronunciation, in terms of also opening your mind to the way the language structures work and things like that. So I can only speak from my own experience in terms of my personal benefit, and it has benefited me hugely in my life, and I just hope that other people can feel those benefits and they can get the same as I've got from it.
You mentioned something very interesting, football being used as, basically, it was a sport that also kind of promoted the Welsh language. And I came across a reading with the whole quote, Together Stronger, which started with the whole soccer games, and now it went viral to extent where even in other countries, it was a quote that was used even in the States as well, presidential elections as well. Clinton, she used it as well, Together Stronger. So what do you think about that? Like, coming from, because a lot of people see Wales as kind of marginalized in the UK and a marginalized country in the UK, and having to have such a strong quote that just started from a football game and then going viral and international, like that for you is like also big in terms of promoting the language as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. That acknowledgement, I guess, and I saw that the Football Association of Wales, when Hillary Clinton was running her campaign, they sent her a few tweets saying, "Oh, thanks for using our hashtag," sort of in a jokey way. But I think Wales in the world does punch above its weight in terms of there's a lot of famous people who've come from Wales, photographers, musicians, singers, like particularly from the arts as well. And also in sporting terms, we often punch above our weight. We're only a nation of just over 3 million people. It's a very, very small population. But I think that there's a lot of potential for us to continue to do that. But I think the Welsh language is a small part of that also. I don't think that it should be exclusively about the Welsh language. It's about who we are, what we stand for, our beautiful landscape that we live in, and what Wales has to offer. And I know now, during the difficult political times around Brexit, I would imagine that Wales will want to see itself out in the world more, even engage with the world more, because for several reasons, be that economic or beyond that. But I think that moving forward, that it is important for Wales to be seen in the world. So I believe in the concept, word of mouth is the strongest tool of marketing, and Together Stronger, the quote, for me, that just signified so much unity, and also spreading the Welsh language and the culture internationally and stuff. So interesting.
It's a very strong anti-English sort of attitude in Wales still. It's a kind attitude, but it's a very powerful force. You've got to remember the word Britain, Prython, is from the word Prython, which means Britain in Welsh. So you have basically all of England and most of Scotland spoke Welsh. I grew up, went to a Welsh-speaking chapel, but my parents had come from West Wales and Merthyr. So the language died off in our family to some extent when, in about 1910, because the working language was English. The coal pits were run by English people, and the language was English. So people would come from Welsh-speaking farms to work in the pits, and they'd end up speaking English after one generation. What happened after that, that went on for until the early 60s, when the Welsh language movement was formed to rekindle the power it used to have. The Welsh language was banned by the English, by Henry VIII. It was illegal, and it was illegal to go into England and do work because you could get killed for just being Welsh. So there was and that's why all the castles are around Wales. It's not there for tourists, it's there to keep the Welsh in. Most of the mediums have to be in Welsh, at least equal power. In the media, for example, you have Channel 4 Wales, S4C, which is a very powerful linguistic communication with people who want to learn Welsh, and they pick it up watching television programs like Pobl and all the rest. You also have schools. Now, one of the problems you have with schools is you get a lot of right-wing people in Wales, certainly in the cities like Cardiff, who send their kids to the Welsh language school in order that they don't have to go to the same school as Pakistanis and Indians and Chinese. They would rather they learned Welsh than would actually study in a culture which is more abhorrent to them than we realise. It's a very unfortunate thing. Let me explain one little thing that goes wrong with the Welsh language culture is the kids will come in from non-Welsh speaking homes and they will go to school, speak Welsh, and then they'll come out and they'll go back to speaking English. It's not become a street language from these groups. It's true that an awful lot of people are picking up the language and their kids, grandchildren would, but I think it's going to take a while for that to sort of dig in deeply, being bilingual will be a great asset to the next generation, I think.
Both Welsh and English exist harmoniously in Wales. The bilingual words of poet Gwyneth Lewis, featured on the design of the iconic Welsh Millennium Centre in Cardiff Bay, is a proud illustration of this. The English reads, "In these stones horizons sing," which translates in both English and Welsh as creating truth like glass from the furnace of inspiration. Like the saying goes, "Ydget cravach, together stronger." Language as a unity away from division. Felicia Mutonga, Cardiff, Wales.
Skibar dagwr ddrws y beidyn agor. Fel di radl idl law, fel di radl idl law, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Dagwr dderwen wych ganghennog, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Golwg arni sydd ar serchog, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Mi ar hosaf yn eich ysgod, nes dawn hariad i'n hyfarfod. Fel di radl idl law, fel di radl idl law, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Dagwr delyn, dagwr tanau, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Beth wyf gwell heb neb i'w chwarae, twrwm di rorum di radl idl law. Dagwr fe'n wen hoenus fanol, beth wyf nes heb gael ei meddwl. Fel di radl idl law, fel di radl idl law, twrwm